Hey everyone, today we're going to be talking about what exactly is fingerstyle guitar. Now, I think this is a really interesting topic because oftentimes we don't even realize that we are not able to define the category or the genre of fingerstyle guitar when I ask you that question, right? If I ask you right now, what is fingerstyle guitar? Chances are you're not really able to answer that in a very definitive way. And the reason for this little confusion is pretty simple, right? Because if you take your guitar, you take your fingers, you play it. Does that mean it's fingerstyle guitar? Well, yes and no, and I'm going to be delving really deep into this topic in this video so that by the end of it, I hope that you will have a much clearer understanding of what the genre and style of fingerstyle guitar playing entails. Alright, so we're going to zoom in and look at some guitarists as an example. Alright, so the first one is Mr. John Williams. Now, John Williams is known as a really established, perhaps one of the best classical guitarists in the world. Now, I'll explain why we're looking at him in a short moment, but let's just take a little look at him playing some music. He's using his fingers, and look at that technique, it's amazing, it's phenomenal. So very clearly, he's playing the guitar with his fingers, right? Alright, I'll pause it there. Now, he's playing the guitar with his fingers, but would we call that fingerstyle guitar? Well, no, we know that to be a classical guitar piece. He's playing it in a very classical guitar fashion, right? In a nylon string guitar with the guitar in this upright position, and he is, by all means, a classical guitarist. So, fingerstyle guitar, yes, it's playing guitar with your fingers, but it's more than that because otherwise we would call John Williams a fingerstyle guitarist as well. Let's take a look at another example. Here we have Paco de Lucia, one of the most phenomenal and highly respected flamenco guitarists in the whole world. Let's take a look at him playing some music. Again with the fingers. It's amazing. Alright, so we've got a lot to go through, so I'm not going to play too long video excerpts, but you can see that yes, he's using his fingers, and the technique is amazing, it's phenomenal. But again, he's playing flamenco music, right? The posture, the guitar is a nylon string flamenco guitar, and the music is flamenco music. So I wouldn't call that fingerstyle guitar as well. Now let's go on. Let's take a look at Mark Knopfler. Alright, he's a rock guitarist from Dire Straits. Now he's very well known for using fingerstyle technique on his electric guitar, and perhaps his most famous song is this one called Sultans of Swing. Let's take a listen. He's going to do a solo now. Check out the technique. Look at his right hand. That's fingerstyle. Alright, I'll stop it here. Now, I said that's fingerstyle because it is fingerstyle. He's using a fingerstyle guitar technique to play that little solo in the context of a rock piece, right? Sultans of Swing. And he's got a full rock band, he's playing on an electric guitar, but that really isn't, I would say, the essence of the genre of fingerstyle guitar. So here we've got this two little separate things. We've got the style of playing, the technique, fingerstyle guitar playing, which is basically just playing the guitar with your fingers, and then we have something a little bit more nuanced, which is the genre of fingerstyle guitar, which is what we're going to be exploring sooner. But let's take a look at a few more examples, alright? Now, one of my favorites, alright, John Mayer playing the song Neon. Let's just take a listen. Fingerstyle technique, once again.
When sky blue gets dark enough to see the colors of the city lights, a trail of ruby red and diamond.
You know, this song Neon, I've taught it to quite a number of my students, and they're really, it's a song that every guitarist wants to learn, and it's a really a good example of fingerstyle guitar technique. But as for the genre of the piece, well, we could say it's a fingerstyle guitar piece because we are playing it very fingerstyle, and if you just isolate the guitar, and playing, you could argue that it's a fingerstyle guitar genre piece, but for all listening purposes, I would categorize it as pop music. All right, it sounds really radio friendly and it's really technical, and I don't mean radio friendly in a bad way. All right, it means it's really catchy and it appeals to many audiences, and it's a beautifully written and composed piece of music. So I would let's just take a look at that piece, right? When we are analyzing it, we just think of it as fingerstyle technique, and it could even be the fingerstyle genre. Alright, now let's move on to one more example, and this is Joe Pass, one of my favorite jazz guitarists, and perhaps one of the pioneers of solo fingerstyle jazz guitar. Let's take a listen. Right, the articulation of the individual notes is so crisp and so detailed in his fingerstyle jazz arrangements. Now, I really love the music of Joe Pass, but would I call that fingerstyle guitar? Like, would I categorize that as fingerstyle guitar? No, it's jazz music by all means, but he is using fingerstyle guitar technique. Alright, so we've looked at some of these examples of guitarists really established in their various genres: rock, pop, jazz, flamenco, classical music. But the question still remains, what is fingerstyle guitar? Well, in order for us to delve and demystify and break this down, let's take a look at some iconic fingerstyle guitar techniques, okay? So the first one is just traditional finger picking. Now you can try along with me, alright? This is going to be really, really simple. If you are a complete beginner, this will be no problem for you. If you're an advanced player, this is actually an exercise that I highly recommend you to practice as well, to do. And it's going to be so simple, right? Just take your thumb, index, middle, and your ring finger and put the thumb on the lowest string and these three fingers on the highest string. What you're going to do, you're just going to plug them in sequentially like this: thumb, index, middle, ring. And after you plug it, just land the fingers back on the strings that you just plugged, muting the strings. Alright, let's try that one time. 1, 2, 3, 4, mute. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, mute. 2, 3, 4. Now you can see the second time that I did it, I kind of missed my index finger. It landed on the wrong string. Alright, so this is why even advanced players, this is a really good exercise for you to train precision and accuracy in your right hand playing. Alright, now that is traditional finger picking, right? It's just picking the guitar with your fingers, which we saw all of those players do. Now, that means it's fingerstyle guitar, but it's more than that. What I mean is fingerstyle guitar is more than just traditional finger picking. Alright, so let's take a look at another really iconic fingerstyle guitar technique, and this is called fretboard tapping. Now, basically it means you just take one hand, right, and you tap a fret and you sound the note in the process like this. So you can try. I'm tapping on the 3rd fret of the low E string here. Right, let's try to make a little progression. So let's go from the 3rd fret, then to the 5th fret, then let's go to the 5th fret of the A string, and back to the first note, which is the 3rd fret of the low E string. So like this: 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now that is fretboard tapping. Obviously, you can do a lot more than that, right? You can do, if you're just using the left hand, right? If you add in the right hand, you could do something like this. Alright, so that's just an example, and this is one really iconic technique that is used in the genre of fingerstyle guitar playing. Alright, so we're getting a little bit more technical here. Now let's go to the next technique, which is percussion on the guitar body. Now this is something that has really made the genre what it is by using this big wooden box, which is our guitar, as a percussion instrument. Now there are many ways that you can use percussion on this instrument. Now, one of the simplest ways is just to break down the various frequencies of the percussive hit that you want. So we've got low frequency, we've got mid frequency, we've got high frequency. Now we're just going to do low and high frequency, alright? An easy way to do low is just use the base of your palm here and just hit this part of the guitar. Alright, now you've got a nice bassy sound. People like to think of it as a kick drum. You could do that. For me, I just think it's a low, bassy, percussive hit. Now, for a high frequency percussive hit, you can take your fingers and hit this part of your guitar. Over here, right? So you can alternate bass, snare, or bass and high frequency, bass and high frequency, like this. And this is a very effective way to get a really nice groove on guitar, on percussive fingerstyle guitar, like this. Bass, high, low, high, low, high. Now you can combine that with our fretboard tapping, and we've got this, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4. Right? That's a really simple way to get started with this iconic fingerstyle guitar genre techniques. Alright? And this is beyond just traditional fingerpicking. Now, we can expand that and do a little bit more, make it a little bit more funky, like this. Alright, so have fun playing around with that. Now what we're going to do, we're going to explore another technique that is used a lot in fingerstyle guitar as a genre. Alright, and this is alternate tunings. Now, the guitar is traditionally tuned to E, A, D, G, B, E. Alright, but fingerstyle guitarists like to do strange stuff, right? We change the tuning of our guitars, which will facilitate whole different worlds and realms of guitar playing that really push the boundaries of what you thought possible on this little instrument over here. So I'm gonna do alternate tuning, and I'm gonna show you how it works. Alright, so right now it's E, A, D, G, B, E. I'm just gonna use my tuner, right? I'm not gonna stress myself out. Alright, so E, I'm gonna leave it there. Now I'm gonna tune this A string up to a B, alright? But I'm gonna do that later because otherwise the guitar will be in a lot of tension. So I'm gonna go to the next string first and tune the D string down, alright, to a B note. Alright. Then the G string, I'm gonna tune it down to an E note. Alright, let's do that. Alright, the last two strings, B and E string, I'm gonna just leave them there. I'm just gonna tune them, make sure they are actually a B and an E. Alright, now we're gonna go back to this A string and I'm gonna tune it up to a B note. Let's do that. Alright, now I'm all tuned up. Now the strings are E, B, B, E, B, E. So you notice I only have E's and B's in my guitar, right? Only these two notes. And this means that I can very easily get chords with open strings. So if I just play this is an E power chord. If I take my index finger and I just, fret all 6 strings together, it will still sound pretty good, right? It's still the same. We just have 2 notes, but we're just shifting it up. And we can play really, really epic songs like... Oh yes, that's amazing, right? It's so easy to play, and we can play that really amazing song. I mean, in all honesty, it is a great song, but it's also a very cliche guitar riff, okay? So guitarists don't just tune your guitars to open tunings just to play Smoke on the Water, alright? We can do lots more with that. Now, I'm going to show you an example soon, but I'm going to introduce another technique, which is lap tapping. Alright, now this is, I wouldn't call it a really iconic fingerstyle guitar technique, and the reason is because it's not done a lot. But I wanted to show this to you because it's one of the techniques that I personally do, and I can demonstrate it to you by playing my original song called Mercy. Alright, so I'm going to take the capo and I'm going to put it on the 1st fret. And I'm going to demonstrate to you perhaps just an excerpt of Mercy by playing it lap tapping style, which means I'm going to take the guitar, I'm going to rotate it like this, and I'm going to place it on my lap. And in order for you to see, I'm just going to lower my camera. So give me a moment, I'm going to adjust a little bit. Alright, I'm all tuned up, I'm ready, I've set the camera down, I've adjusted the microphone. Now, I'm gonna play my original piece, Mercy, for you, just a short excerpt so that you can take a look and have an experience of what lap tapping is like using open alternate tunings. Alright, let's go. So I'm just using the open strings here. Alright, so that's the little excerpt of Merci. Alright, I hope you enjoyed that. Now we're gonna go back to the presentation. Alright, let me just adjust the camera. Hey, I just want to interrupt to let you know that I have a fingerstyle guitar course just for you. It's called Fingerstyle for the World, and it's got levels 1, 2, and 3 where I take you through arranging songs on fingerstyle guitar in open position, closed position, and improvisation. On top of that, I also have a free level 0 mini course where you can get a taste of what's to come in the full course and show you in the level 0 course how the arrangement process looks like. Now, it's beginner friendly and it goes from beginner all the way to advanced level. So no matter where you are on your guitar journey, it will be suitable for you. So check out the link in my description to check out Fingerstyle for the World, and I hope to see you there. Now let's get back to the video. Okay, so we've talked about lap tapping. Now we're going to be exploring some other innovations that fingerstyle guitarists have been doing. Now, the first one is Mr. Trevor Gordon Hall. Now, what he's done here is he's attached an instrument called a kalimba to his guitar. Now, the kalimba is, I believe, is a West African instrument. It's also called the thumb piano. It's a really beautiful instrument using metal sticks or metal rods plucked with your thumb to create a sound. So let's take a listen to Trevor Gordon Hall and what he does on his kalimbatar. That's amazing, right? It's so innovative and so creative, and he's really pushing the limits of what's possible on the acoustic guitar. Now here we have Pat Metheny, who's more of a jazz guitarist, but here he's got this crazy guitar built by a luthier called Linda Manzer, who, let's just take a listen to what he's doing. Sounds so otherworldly, right? So it's a good example of some innovations that are being done or have been done by fingerstyle guitarists. Pushing the guitar to its limits. All right, let's move on. All right, now the next one is Luca Stricagnoli. I hope I pronounced that right. Now he's got a crazy instrument over here, and what he does with it is pretty phenomenal as well. Let's just take a listen. One instrument, one person's creating that sound, right? He's got little clappy stuff attached to his guitar. All right, so he's got bass, and you can go and watch the video on your own time. So you can see it's really trying to push the guitar to its limits over here. And now we have Muriel Anderson, one of the most prominent harp guitar players, where this instrument actually, it's not a recent innovation. It's been around for many, many years, right? But she has been pushing it to wider audiences and popularizing the instrument. So let's take a listen to her playing. Alright, so really, really beautiful and melodic, and she's focusing really on the intimacy of the piece. Now, I really like her music. You should go check her out as well. Alright, so let's boil this down back to the question, what makes the fingerstyle genre, after we've explored some iconic fingerstyle techniques and some innovations on guitar playing? Well, I would argue that fingerstyle guitar is pushing the boundaries of the guitar to express and articulate the musical ideas in the artist's mind. Now, what does this imply? Or what does this mean? This means that what makes the genre of fingerstyle guitar is the musician, right? Not the instrument. The instrument is an instrument, a tool that's used by the artist, by the musician, to create what's going on in our mad scientist, mad musician minds, all right? So fingerstyle guitar is really about the artist having all these creative ideas that push the instrument to its limits and push the boundaries and go beyond its limits to create these amazing arrangements of songs and compositions as well, all right? So that's my take on what fingerstyle guitar is as a genre. And of course, as a technique, it's literally playing the guitar with your fingers. Alright, so I hope this has shed a little bit of light on helping you understand the genre of fingerstyle guitar. Now, we're not done yet. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you, we're going to work through some iconic fingerstyle guitar players. Alright, now, before that, I forgot, right? I want to talk about why, if the genre is made by the artist and not the instrument, then why guitar? Why not, fingerstyle piano or fingerstyle flute? Well, my understanding or my argument is that the guitar is really very versatile as an instrument. Well, for one, you could easily change the tunings, right? You can play percussion on it. You can play chords, you can play melodies on it, and that's why this instrument, this little thing, right, is so versatile, and it's a suitable tool for us crazy artists, musicians who want to do so much with our music, and this tool enables and allows us to do so. And that's why I believe it's fingerstyle guitar and not fingerstyle cajon or something like that, right? Although I'm sure that there are lots of very, very innovative and creative artists on various instruments around the world. Okay, so now we're going to delve into looking at some iconic fingerstyle guitarists, and we're going to look at some of their music, and this will give us a better sense of the development of the genre of fingerstyle guitar. Now, I'm going to be focusing on guitarists who I feel have contributed to the genre in a significant way. Now, I know there are many, many amazing, phenomenal fingerstyle guitarists today. Now, I'm not going to talk about all of them. Now, I hope you don't be offended if your favorite one is not mentioned, all right? But I'm just going to be talking about those who have made significant contributions in allowing the genre to develop and progress. So we're going to be starting with the most iconic one, which is Michael Hedges. Now, he's been described as the Jimi Hendrix of fingerstyle guitar. Now, he passed away at a young age and in 1997, I believe from a car crash. So, yeah, but he's a phenomenal person, a phenomenal musician. We're going to take a look at one of his compositions called Area Boundaries. Now, mind you, at this time, this style of changing the tuning of your guitar and playing it in a very percussive fashion with tapping was very new, and he was one of the pioneers of doing this. Now, let's just take a listen. I love the little smoke on his guitar. right, we've got a lot to cover, so I'm not going to listen too long, but you can see he's doing a lot of tapping, alternate tunings, and, two-handed tapping as well, and he does a lot more percussive work, and this was really quite the innovation at the time, all right, and it has allowed us today to be able to learn from all his innovations and, create the music that we do as fingerstyle guitarists today. Now, the next guitarist is Preston Reed. Now, Preston Reed's guitar playing is very atmospheric in nature. It's not really melodic, but it creates a scene in our musical minds using just the instrument, the guitar. Now, the song we're going to be listening to is called Tractor Pull. And as you listen to it, you can almost imagine that, you can imagine a tractor being pulled. You can see the images in the video. It's like a train on a railroad. All right, let's just take a listen. I didn't get to the part where he was where they showed a train. But anyway, Preston Reed was one of a big influence of mine. In fact, the first fingerstyle guitar piece that I learned was a Preston Reed song. Now, we're going to move on. Now, he was born in 1955. Michael Hedges was in 1953. So we're kind of going in chronological order for the most part, all right? So now we have Tommy Emmanuel. Now, Tommy Emmanuel is still really active today, and he's kind of a blues fingerstyle guitar player. He's from Australia. A really, really humble guy. I've met him before. Great inspiration. And let's take a listen to his song. It's not his original song, but his arrangement of Classical Gas. So Tommy does more of the traditional fingerpicking style. He even uses a thumb pick. Doesn't do so much of the percussive work, although he does some crazy percussive work, but most of the time it's traditional fingerpicking. Alright, what I love about Tommy is really his energy and his exuberance when he plays music. He just loves the guitar so much, and I think we can all be inspired by him. Now, the next one is Pierre Bensusan. Now, he's a contemporary of Michael Hedges. In fact, Michael Hedges composed a piece called Bensusan. Now, what I like about Pierre Bensusan is that his music is really melodic. He's focusing on conveying the melody, and he even sings the melody as he's playing the piece. Now, let's just take a listen. Singing scat syllables. Notice he's playing and singing the same melody. Alright, so more of a traditional fingerpicking style, right? Not so percussive, but really melodic. Now, we can fall into the trap of getting so lost in all this tapping and percussive work that we lose the melody, and sometimes that's okay, right? For in the example of Preston Reed, where he's going for a more atmospheric kind of sound. But for the most part, we still want to have emphasis on the melody when we are playing our fingerstyle guitar pieces. Don't get so caught up with getting all the hits and knocks and taps in there, all right? As long as you have the melody, then your music will be very, very listenable and really beautiful. All right, now let's go on to Eric Roche. Now, Eric Roche is a very important figure in fingerstyle guitar. He even wrote I believe it's called the Fingerstyle Guitar or Acoustic Guitar Bible. And there's so much information. Now, he passed away in 2005, but he has influenced and inspired many fingerstyle guitarists, which we will talk about later on. Okay, and I believe he also organized fingerstyle guitar boot camps in the UK, which led to even more fingerstyle guitar boot camps being created around the world. And we'll get to that later, but let's just take a listen to his rendition of Smells Like Teen Spirit by Nirvana. And pay attention to his dynamic control, loud and soft and really, really emotive in his playing. Check out that sudden drop in dynamics, in volume, in intensity. Now the melody comes in. Just the right amount of grit. Alright, so that's Eric Roche. Now, a good friend and contemporary of Eric Roche is Thomas Leeb. Now, Thomas Leeb also organizes boot camps, fingerstyle guitar boot camps, which I've attended before, in Austria, in a beautiful mountain. And yeah, if you are really serious about fingerstyle guitar, I recommend you to go to his boot camp. He's a really, really fantastic guy, and he's so friendly. And he has a background in African percussion, African rhythms, and you can really feel that in his music. So we're going to listen to his piece, Desert Pirate, which is really, really percussive in nature. Just a fun fact, you can see that little golden pickup on his guitar. I actually bought it from him. It's somewhere lying around. I haven't used it in a while, but yeah, I bought his pickup. Let's go. Alright, so he also innovated the use of that little scratch plate that you can see attached to his guitar, and a lot of players after that have taken on to it. People like Newton Faulkner, Jon Gomm, Mike Dawes, for example. Alright, so now we're gonna move a little bit further away. We're gonna talk about Kotaro Oshio, who is a Japanese guitarist, and yeah, his pieces, They have a very different nature, almost what I call a Japanese sound. I don't really know how to describe it, but it's really, really percussive and lively in nature. All right, let's take a listen to one of his most famous pieces, Wings. I love the music video style. To me, it's, forgive my ignorance, sound feels very Japanese. So for Kotaro Oshio, he uses a lot of open strings, which give it a very big sound and very percussive nature. And because he's got all these open strings ringing, it frees him up to do a lot of percussive work. So it's very rhythmic and very driving. Alright, the next guitarist is Jon Gomm. Now, fun thing about Jon Gomm is you see that tattoo on his arm here, that little spiral thing. That's actually Michael Hedges' logo of one of his albums. So Jon Gomm is greatly inspired by Michael Hedges, and he's a phenomenal guitar player, a real innovator as well. And he's also a singer. So one of his most famous songs is called Passion Flower. And yeah, he's really popularized the genre of fingerstyle guitar. And he's now creating new guitars with Ibanez, specifically tailored to percussive, progressive, modern fingerstyle guitar. Let's take a listen.
Born in your tiny prison cell, a million times smaller.
There's a banjo tunist. So I met him in the Thomas Leeb. I met him in the Thomas Leeb boot camp, and he's a really, really fantastic guy, really friendly, very, very earnest, very genuine, right? And he's really into making good music, and his music is really good, right? So you can check him out. All right, the next one is Kaki King. All right, so Kaki King, she is really important, I would say, in the genre of fingerstyle guitar because she has innovated quite a bit and playing in a very percussive style, but also a very unique style. You hear later in her piece, and the reason why I put Kaki King here in this place because of the next artist that we're going to look at is also related to her. Okay, but yeah, let's take a listen. And I've also met her and seen her play live, and she's really a phenomenal player. So you can see it's not very melodic, it's more textural, similar to Preston Reed's music. Alright, so you can go listen to the whole song on your own, but what I like about it is that it's really playing around with the subtle nuanced sounds that can be created on the guitar, and taking that little nuanced sound, which she calls pink noise, and amplifying it, right? Stretching the boundaries of what's possible with that sound. She even has songs that she plays when she breaks her strings, alright? So yeah, really quite the innovative guitarist there. Now, the next one is August Rush. Now, I know August Rush is not a real person, alright? This is actually a movie and it's played by Freddie Highmore, but actually the music that's played is played by Kaki King. And Freddie Highmore doesn't actually play the music. I mean, he may be a guitarist, but I don't think he's on the level of Kaki King, right? He's an actor. Now, we're gonna I'm gonna show you a clip here, and in this video, he's playing a piece composed by Michael Hedges called Ritual Dance. And why I put this video here, right, although it's not a real person, is because I feel that this movie, if you've watched it, it's a decent movie, right? But what it did was it put fingerstyle guitar in the popular spotlight. I remember when the movie came out, and I'm based in Singapore, and then whenever I play fingerstyle guitar, people would say, "Oh, you're the August Rush of Singapore." Oh, that's August Rush kind of music, right? Before that, they were like, they wouldn't know what to call the genre, and this was way back. This movie was released in 2007. Okay, so then they just called it the August Rush kind of music, and I was the August Rush of Singapore. But of course now the genre is a lot more established, and we wouldn't think of it as August Rush music. We think of it as fingerstyle guitar music. But I believe this movie had quite a big part to play in the development of the genre. All right, so let's take a listen. All right. So some of the close-ups of his hand is actually Kaki King's hand. Okay.
Show. Play it for your parents.
Alright, so you can watch the movie on your own time. But I thought I'd just throw it in there because to me it was significant in the development of fingerstyle guitar as a genre. Alright, next artist is Andy McKee. Now, Andy McKee really, he popularized fingerstyle guitar in an unimaginable way. And this was when YouTube was kind of a fairly new thing. And he posted a few videos under the label of Candy Rat Records. And his most popular one is Drifting. And I think you might have heard it before. It's really iconic, and it's the video is gloriously in 240p, I think, right? It's really pixelated, but it's got millions of views. And back then when it came out, everybody was learning how to play drifting, and even today, many people are learning how to play drifting. So let's take a listen to Drifting. 2006, just before August Rush came out. Alright, so drifting was all the rage when it came out, right? All my friends were learning how to play drifting. I think I learned it, not the full song, but I learned a little bit of it. Alright, now we're going to go to the next artist, which is Newton Faulkner. Now, Newton Faulkner is actually a student of Eric Roche, who we looked at earlier. Now, Newton Faulkner is a very pop artist, right? He's really famous, right? Really popular as a pop artist, but also as a fingerstyle guitarist. But so his music is not really I wouldn't categorize it so much as fingerstyle guitar music. It's more like popular music with a very strong fingerstyle guitar element inside of it. So I put him here because I think he has opened up, spread this idea, the genre of fingerstyle guitar to a much wider audience through his popular music reach. All right, let's take a look at, I think, the video that made him really popular, which is a cover of Teardrop by Massive Attack. And he's just playing and singing it in an elevator, I think. So really, really cool. Don't you love it when videos were so simple? Alright. Just a little excerpt. Now, I'm going to go to Mike Dawes. Now, Mike Dawes is really pioneering a lot of very technical and beautifully melodic use of the guitar as an instrument. I've also met him in Austria, and he's a really I'm lost for words, right? Really technical. His music is so precise. It's like he makes no mistakes. I'm sure he does, but it feels as though his music is so pristine and so perfect. And one thing I want to highlight is his use of pedals. Now, many of the guitarists here do use pedals, and I think Mike Dawes does it in a very subtle way that he just elevates his music. Now, you can hear in his cover of John Mayer's Slow Dancing in a Burning Room, he uses some distortion, some chorus, and some reverb delay effects to really using these effects to contribute, to serve the music, and not just to show everyone that, hey, I can play distortion on an acoustic guitar. All right, let's take a listen. Check out the effects. Cavernous reverb. Distortion, but subtle. With a little wah. How he does it so subtly but so effectively to just level up the music. Okay, now we're down to our last artist, and we definitely cannot talk about fingerstyle guitar without talking about Sungha Jung over here. Now, Sungha Jung is probably the ultimate fingerstyle guitar YouTube sensation. Korean guitarist, really, we saw him in YouTube when he was just a little kid, and today he's a grown man. I've actually performed with him once in Singapore, and yeah, I played a duet with him. Really humble and really down to earth guy. And I mean, I don't need to talk about him. I'm sure you know about him, Sungha Jung. All right, so he plays fingerstyle guitar in a more of a traditional style, and he's known for arranging popular music in fingerstyle guitar without too much theatrics, right? No crazy tapping or crazy percussive work, and really just serving the music and arranging it for the instrument to really sound like the original song, but with the fingerstyle guitar flavor. So let's take a listen to one of his arrangements of Bee Gees. Alright, so I'm just going to pause it there because I know we've covered so many guitarists. I don't want to play too long. But yeah, I hope that this video and this lesson has given you a lot of insight into what fingerstyle guitar is. Now, to summarize, fingerstyle guitar is both a technique and an approach to playing the instrument and creating music. So fingerstyle technique is, yes, traditional fingerpicking, but other techniques like tapping, percussion, alternate tunings, lap tapping. And the genre is really about pushing the boundaries of what's possible on the guitar to create what's in the artist's minds, which means that fingerstyle guitar as a genre is embodied by the artist, and the instrument, the guitar, is a tool to articulate that. All right, so this is a beautiful instrument, and it articulates all of our mad musician, mad scientist ideas in our heads, and that's why I love the guitar, and I love being a fingerstyle guitarist as well. Now, I hope this has been enlightening to you. Now, there are obviously many more fingerstyle guitarists to talk about, and I can't talk about all of them in the video, but I hope that you can, from this video, launch off and explore the genre in all its beautiful diversity. Alright, now I'll see you in the next video. Take good care, enjoy fingerstyle guitaring. Bye bye.